Today is the feast of the Epiphany. What is the meaning of the word Epiphany, which comes from Greek? Epiphany means manifestation, showing. We are celebrating the time when God showed Himself to us. And we have, during this period of time, so full of meaning and symbols, we have all the manifestations of God to humanity, compressed, so to say, in 4 weeks. First we had Christmas, when Christ was born and showed Himself as a little baby, innocent, helpless baby, to shepherds, to poor people, unnoticed. Today we are celebrating the manifestation, the show of Himself to all Gentiles, to rich people, to kings, to VIP, if you want, of the world, to all nations. Next Sunday, we'll celebrate the baptism of Christ in the River Jordan. And there we hear also God speaking of His Son as His beloved Son. And there again, we see the manifestation of Christ as God to us and beloved by His Father. The following Sunday, we celebrate also the first miracle that Jesus performed in His public life when He was a guest of a young couple who had a problem in serving the guests. They had no wine, and Jesus was there to make them happy. You see, we here in these 4 circumstances, we have all the experiences of our humanity and our divinity in us. This is the manifestation of God to us, to show us and to give us the meaning of life and where we should search for happiness. Happiness has been now an obsession, so to say, in our time. These last 20 years, there is a great desire for all people to be happy. And in itself, this is something very good, because we are showing what is innate in us, what God has created in us, to find happiness. The problem sometimes with our times and with so many people is that they look for wrong places for happiness. Maybe they mix up pleasure with happiness. Happiness is not pleasure. Pleasure is for a moment, but it's not real happiness. In America, there is at the moment a very popular school, founder of Happiness Project, by a psychologist. His name is Robert Holden. This Robert Holden founded this project of happiness, and he said that today we compare ourselves to more people than ever. When we were young and before, we used to frame our reference came from our village, from our town. But now we watch TV celebrities and see people living incredibly glamorous lives. Yet, even when you get all those riches, it is never enough. And he mentioned the example of Tiger Woods, the incidents that happened recently. Research shows those who are happiest put relationships first. If you have 5 people you are intimate with, that is a huge signifier of happiness. And ironically, the happiest people have the most success in life. In a survey that was done in Britain in 1952, the survey says that 52% of English people consider themselves to be happy. Happy with their lives, happy with their work, happy with what's all around them. The same survey was done in 2006. The percentage now has fallen to 36%. In spite that wealth and way of living in Britain and the standard of living has tripled. So wealth, money, and consumerism is not the answer of happiness. Rest assured, Holden says, that we need to invest in relationships and enjoy what we already have. Recognize that buying things provides a dopamine hit lasting roughly 90 seconds. Instead, he said, appreciate the pleasure, but don't see it as your salvation. In other words, Put your priorities right. And this is, unfortunately, these people, these great psychologists and these great sociologists of our time, they recognize that we need to be happy. They recognize that there is a problem in our time, in our living today, and they don't acknowledge God as giving this happiness, and putting God in our relationships, in our life, means finding happiness and peace. And I here quote Viktor Frankl, who was an Austrian survivor of Auschwitz. He wrote a beautiful book, The Meaning of Life, and he said, "The secret of life is to be able to see life's real meaning and direction, to be people of vision, to know where God is to be found, where real truth, goodness, beauty, and peace are to be found." This is Viktor Frankl. And this is the message that the star that the Magi were looking for and found, we can find it too. We all have stars in our life. We all look for the star to guide us. And that stars are the relationships, experiences in life that we encounter day by day. These are the stars that God sends us to find Him, to find the true meaning of life. If we are open enough to see God in these stars, to see God in our relationship, to see God in our work, to see God in our sickness, to see God in our solitude, then yes, we can find peace and happiness in ourselves. And so today we need to ask a few questions. How and to what is God calling me at this time? Where does He want me to find Him, to serve and follow Him? Some have their priorities already fixed and so have stopped or even looking for other priorities. Some have their priorities in work, in money, in consumism, in drugs, in addictions, and so they don't find any place for God. And that is the wrong star that they are looking at, and the wrong priority. If we have them, if we are unlucky enough to have these kind of priorities, we need to make a sincere examination of conscience. Where is my life taking me? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to find happiness and peace in my life? These are very relevant questions that we need to put. The wise man did not know where the star would lead them, as we don't know the answers to these questions. But if we just followed it through Christ who gives us His word, His hope, His assurance that He will lead us to the good place that we need. Remember, in the time of the Magi, there were many other people looking at the sky in Bethlehem that didn't recognize the star and the place where Jesus was born. These were the people of faith who put their priorities right and who wanted truly and honestly to find happiness, meaning, and peace in their heart. So let's make this proposal and this resolution at the beginning of this year. We are still in time to put in new resolutions. Let's follow this star. Let's follow Christ. Let's find Him, a new companion in life. All the other things that we have in our life, relationships, money, work, will come, and happiness will follow, and peace of heart will come in each of our hearts. God bless you.